Ice up. Ice what?
Whoa, whoa, baby, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out. Whoa.
What's up, everyone? So you may notice that it's not as, the normal style for prediction videos because I'm trying to work on my free flow talking a little bit more, and having all that stuff all over the place doesn't really help. My brain goes pew. So, yeah, that's something I've always been a little, bad at, and I'm trying to get better. So, work with me if you guys want to. If you don't, you can leave. I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint. But, yeah, I'm trying to get better at, not scripting the entire episode, but having notes down, reading off the topic, and building off of that with my own brain. So, that's what I'm going to be doing today, just to try to get, better at that kind of stuff. So, sorry if you don't like that kind of video. You're welcome to just tell me to screw off. But one thing I would like to say before I actually start is, if you guys want to help me out a bit, this doesn't cost any money or nothing, just 3 seconds of your time. I don't like saying this because it's so cliche, but it actually really helps. Turn on the little notification bell by the subscribe button if you want to. Just saying, it would help me a ton. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about, this matchup, the Saints versus Falcons on Thanksgiving Day. Going to be a very, very, very interesting matchup to watch, especially after the Falcons came into New Orleans and completely backhanded us in front of our home crowd. We were lost. We looked speechless. We looked like, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know the answer to what the Atlanta Falcons were throwing at us. We got locked up on the offensive side of the ball, and the defense just couldn't keep their composure, because when you're the defense and the offense literally has done absolutely nothing, has not retained any time of possession, you're going to get tired and you're going to allow points eventually. So we got to make sure we can get things going. That's the worst game I've ever seen Drew Brees play in my entire life, because he doesn't play bad games like that. Leading the offense to not a single touchdown at home. First time that's ever happened in the Drew Brees, Sean Payton era. So let's go ahead and talk about this game. It's an interesting one, like I stated before. The Falcons' secondary is ranked 27th in the league. Now, if the Saints want to win this game, that's one thing I think they need to exploit. The Falcons' secondary. It has been their weak link for a long time. People say, they played great for that 2-game stretch. Well, they gave Chris Godwin almost 200 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Mike Evans had 50 yards, but Chris Godwin definitely torched them. They're not as good as everybody thinks they might be. They have potential, but they just have very, very, very hard times holding that potential and keeping it. After that blowout loss at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, look for them to be playing angry, but I think the Saints are going to be playing even angrier. I think that the Saints get Mike Thomas and Jared Cook involved early. Jared Cook had a monster game against the Carolina Panthers just this week. 6 receptions, 99 yards for a touchdown. I think that he could have had way better numbers if he was just that one extremely deep pass didn't get overturned because of offensive pass interference. That was phantom. Didn't actually happen. 43 yards taken off of his stat sheet right there. So could have had a monster game, but instead had a very big one. Michael Thomas has had 5 straight games with at least, 80-plus yards and 8 receptions and 100 yards. He's been playing absolutely fantastic. The dude's breaking records, and I think that he breaks more records against the Atlanta Falcons secondary this week. I don't think they have an answer for Michael Thomas. He had 158 yards in the first matchup. He definitely wasn't the problem. The Falcons also have the number 18th ranked rush defense in the league. Now, that may sound like a problem, but if you guys have been watching, paying close attention, Alvin Kamara hasn't been the same this year. And now I'm not saying that he hasn't been playing well, because given the opportunities he has been playing well. But he just doesn't look as happy-go-lucky, as carefree, as invested emotionally in the team as he was before. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't care. He just looks sad. Like, he looks like he doesn't look like he's confident anymore, and that's not something that I like to see. I think it has a lot to do with the departure of Mark Ingram. I don't think him and Latavius Murray have built up a relationship even close to what Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram had. They were brothers, and it seems to have be like emotionally affecting Alvin Kamara a lot. Now, as far as his rush yardage, he's been on par with any other season he had. He had 800 last year, and he already has 526 heading into Week 13. So it just doesn't feel the same. He has good production. He's been producing very well, even though he only has 1 touchdown. He hasn't been given the opportunities he used to as far as rushing the ball goes. He just doesn't feel the same. It's not that he isn't playing well. He just does not feel the same emotionally, and that's something that's been, bothering me for the past couple of games. Even though he has been producing well, he produced well against Tampa Bay, he produced well against Carolina, and I expect him to produce well against the number 18th ranked rush defense in the league, the Atlanta Falcons, this week. Expect Alvin Kamara to hopefully get back on track and look like himself. But Latavius Murray has been having a very under-the-radar, extremely good season. Now, I'm going to read you his stats, and I'm pretty sure 90% of you are going to be shocked by these stats. Latavius Murray has 467 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now, you may be saying, hey, that's not even that good. He had 500 yards last year. It's week 13. He's the second option running back, 4.5 yards per carry, 467 yards with 5 touchdowns as well. He arguably has been better than Alvin Kamara, which is extremely sad to say. I just don't think Alvin Kamara has been given the opportunities he should. I've been complaining about us not running the ball for a while now, and until it happens, I'm going to be upset about it. And you may be saying, we have been running the ball. No, we haven't. Let me read you this real quick. Both Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray on the season have combined for 216 rushing attempts. Christian McCaffrey alone has 221. That shouldn't be the case. Now, you can say, Christian McCaffrey's Carolina's only offensive weapon. They don't have anyone else to give the ball to. I don't care. Alvin Kamara has the same skill set as Christian McCaffrey. He just isn't used, and it's genuinely so annoying. Last year, the New Orleans Saints passed 54% of the time, which was 28th in the league. Now, they pass 61% of the time, which is 12th in the league, and in the past 3 games have passed 69% of the time. I don't know what the deal is and why Sean Payton is abandoning the run, but it's why these games have been so close. And I'll say it time and time again, it's just frustrating. So I think to win this game versus the Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints need to, 1, get Jared Cook and Michael Thomas involved early. They also need to establish a ground attack with Alvin Kamara and Latavius Murray because you can do it. I don't care. I don't understand why we're shying away from the run. You can easily do it. With those 2 running backs, those 2 premier backs, they can do it. The Atlanta Falcons are not going to be taking this game lightly, and you may say, why would they try to hurt their draft capital? Why would they sit here and win a game that they shouldn't win? They can tank for the rest of the season. It's not that the Atlanta Falcons want a better draft pick or anything like that, or they're going to tank. These dudes are playing for their jobs. They're playing for their jobs. Dan Quinn is coaching for his job. They don't care about draft picks right now. They know the talent they have. They've seen it in 2 back-to-back blowout wins versus the New Orleans Saints and Carolina Panthers. They are playing for their jobs. The New Orleans Saints need to understand that. I think they get the memo not to take this team lightly. Atlanta is extremely talented, and they're a team that can punch you in the gut and keep punching you in the gut if you let them. We have to come out, strike, take this team seriously, establish a balanced run and pass game, because for some reason we have not been doing that, and it is so frustrating. But that is the only way we're going to win this game is if we establish a balanced running and passing attack. I'll say that is how playoff teams win. The Ravens have been blowing teams out every week. They only pass the ball 45% of the time. You have to run the football in this league. You have to, especially come playoff time. So that's just something I've been a little heated about. Let's go ahead and talk about the injury report a bit now. Julio Jones, a huge part to the Atlanta Falcons offense. One of the most talented wide receivers in the league, is a game-time decision. He has a shoulder injury that he has not been able to get checked out or tested at all by any specialist, so I don't think the Atlanta Falcons risk it here. I think they actually let Julio Jones sit. Now that I look into it, I thought that it was just a normal shoulder injury, but no, he hasn't even been able to get it checked by a specialist, so that's going to be a problem. One of the best tight ends statistically in the league, Austin Hooper, has been officially declared out yet again. The Atlanta Falcons definitely resided in him as a number 2 or number 3 option who was doing a lot of good before he ended up getting hurt. So it sucks that the Atlanta Falcons likely won't be at full strength. But the New Orleans Saints have some injuries of their own. Marshawn Lattimore and Deontay Harris have been battling injuries for weeks on weeks and weeks on end now. Marshawn Lattimore is questionable for this game. So is Deontay Harris. We do not know if they're going to play until probably later today. I'll be sure to update the comments with the injury report as soon as it comes out. So Julio Jones, Austin Hooper, Marshawn Lattimore, Deontay Harris. Both of these teams have injuries that they're fighting for. Devonta Freeman is actually coming back from an injury for the Atlanta Falcons, so that's definitely something to look at. I'm going to be real with y'all. The New Orleans Saints have not looked the same as they were last year this year. And now I'm not saying they aren't as good, because they somehow are as good. The culture isn't the same. And that's crazy to think, because the New Orleans Saints are a team that have been looked at and praised for their culture, but it just has not been the same. They haven't been as happy-go-lucky. Michael Thomas is no longer throwing up his guns anymore. They're playing so much more serious, and I can't tell if that's a bad or a good thing. Just the charisma is gone, and I don't know why, and I don't know what that points to. I don't understand what exactly is going on within that locker room. Losing a guy like Mark Ingram definitely has been a huge hit. He's over there in Baltimore hyping up his teammates and being all loud and making everybody happy around him. It's just the team hasn't looked as happy as it usually is, and they haven't looked as, together. But I hope that they mold together. Maybe I'm just overlooking it because they're not as flashy and they're not as, celebrate-y as they were last year. Maybe Sean Payton just clamped down and said, look, we're going to be a team that does not, make ourselves look like that. I don't know. Let me know what you think the problem with that is, because I think we've all noticed it. It's definitely been a continuous eyesore for me. I don't know about y'all, but go ahead and comment that down below. Now, for my predictions, with Marshawn Lattimore, I think the Saints win 31-17. I think it's a pretty steady win. If Marshawn Lattimore plays, I don't see anybody getting open and scoring a lot. The Saints, with Marshawn Lattimore, have a lockdown defense. Without him, the pass defense has fallen to 16th in the league, but he is a great corner, a lockdown corner, and takes away an entire half of the field. Without Marshawn Lattimore, I think the Saints win off of another game winner by Will Lutz, 31-28. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, do all that fancy stuff, I'll see you boys in the next one. Adios.
Ballin' like Barkley, wrist so sparkly, internet surfing, feel like iCarly.